name is Jaida Hall.
And I'm Chris Williams. Last month when you tuned into our very first episode, we had a couple guests and we talked about college degrees versus non-college degrees. This episode will mainly be focused on the post-election as our 45th president of the United States was elected, which was Barack Obama. I hope you guys went out there and rocked a vote. Also, there was a very major storm that did pass through the East Coast that hit New Jersey and New York, leaving a lot of people without power. I mean, did you hear anything about that?
Yeah, Hurricane Sandy. How didn't I hear about it? It affected us because our lights went out Monday night around 8 o'clock.
You lost power?
Yeah, we lost power.
I actually did not lose power at all.
Oh, that's
I don't know.
because you live in a mansion.
No, well, not now. I live in Voorhees. But I didn't lose power at all.
Oh, yeah, we lost power Monday night at 8 o'clock, and we didn't get power until Wednesday around 9:30. So we were out of power, and it was an inconvenience, but the storm made me reflect on so much. I can only speak for myself.
Okay.
It made me reflect on so much and how much we take for granted and how grateful we should really be for the little things that we do have. Warm water, power, that we could pay our electricity bill on time and our lights aren't cut off. Like that's such a blessing. So in the big scheme of things, we were very, very fortunate. Like New York got hit hard.
Yeah, a lot of people were at the gas stations with gas cans waiting 3 hours just to fill up just to get gas.
Some gas, and here we are putting $5 in our tank. We gotta do better.
Yeah, we do.
You must do better.
We do. As you guys know, today's topic of our show, once again, is going to be on the post-election, and we have a couple special guests. Jaida, who are our special guests?
Our special guests are David Michaelson and Ellie Tremble. David Michaelson, is a Republican who voted for Mitt Romney, and he is a Rutgers law student in Camden. And Ellie Tremble is a graduate of Rutgers Camden, and she lives in Camden, and she voted for Barack Obama. She works with the homeless in Philadelphia, and she works for several non-profit organizations. So we're really excited to see the dynamic between those two young people and what they really have to say, which leads me to ask you, what were your feelings about the election and how everything played out? How did you vote? How did you feel about all of that?
I did vote. I thought it was a very good turnout. I felt as though that the country spoke for itself in representing what they want to happen for the future. And what I mean by that is, Barack Obama had an agenda, and he won the majority vote against Mitt Romney, who was a good candidate. But I think that they didn't see enough in his views and enough from, the Republican Party overall to really bring the country back. And Barack Obama had an agenda, and they just want him to finish it. And we'll see in the next 4 years if we can, get past everyone saying that we haven't made any progress. And hopefully we can see what he can do in the next 4 years. Maybe play a little more hardball.
Okay. Well, you want to know what I think?
Yes, I do.
Ask me.
Okay. Jaida Hall, did you vote?
Okay.
What did you think about the election overall, and what do you think the country's direction is going in as far as right now?
Okay. I did vote, and it was a battle. It was a tough battle between if I was going to vote or not. And the battle wasn't who I was going to vote for. If I was going to vote, I knew that I was going to vote for our current president, Barack Obama. If he sees this, we are fans, and we support you. But my whole thing is that I just don't, Chris, I really honestly do not get involved in politics.
Okay, why is that?
It's just something personal for me, because no matter what direction I go in life, no matter who's in the White House, no matter who's running this world, I believe that I'm going to be taken care of. And that's just my personal belief. And the way people started arguing it over it, I put a status up on Facebook about me not knowing if I wanted to vote or not.
Okay.
And I felt like I was hung on the cross. The cross. I felt like I was hung because people were saying that, it's my duty to vote.
Right.
My forefathers fought for me to vote.
Right.
And this is true. But they also, to me personally, I'll talk to them. To me personally, I think that my forefathers marched and they fought for me to have a right to either vote or not to vote.
Right.
That's just me. But I really honestly, I sat down, I talked about it, I talked to my mother, and I decided to vote because there are people that really believe in this political system, and they do need help. And at the end of the day, I'm grateful that no matter who's in office, that God has the final say for my life. And that's how I look at it. But I did vote, and I'm very happy with the response of our nation. I'm very happy that we don't have to look at these ads anymore. If I'm on Pandora and listening to my music, I don't have to hear Mitt Romney come in with an ad. I'm thankful. It's over with.
Speaking of the ads, I thought that, I kind of that was one part of the election and one part of, leading up to, November 6th that I didn't like.
What's that?
The ads they weren't really really ads. They were just kind of just negative campaigns
Right.
against each other. Like, I mean, some of them just, to me, they just made no sense. But on to your point about the voting, I think that voting is important, essentially now because, a couple, our last president before Barack Obama, obviously, was George W. Bush. He didn't do a lot of things that people wanted him to do, and he kind of focused on more areas of the country's needs instead of, the economy, which fell. So I think now people realize that, college is different. As we discussed last week, people are graduating college around 23, 24, and, Barack Obama has given people a chance to, kind of make it in the world. He lets people stay on their parents' health care till 26. He's actually, bringing troops home. He's actually, caught terrorists. I mean, he's doing a lot of different things, and once you kind of, I guess, get more into politics, you maybe want to understand exactly what's going on, because I guess when we make more money, we'll pay attention to everything.
Right. Well, when
yeah.
you're rich, you pay attention to everything.
Yeah, but there's a couple points that I want to touch on today for the election, and Jaida and I will bring to you, our guests, later on. Is going to be a lot of different things, such as where does the GOP stand right now? What is Barack Obama's future as president, right? As far as the next 4 years, where can our economy go? What issues does he need to immediately get to,
right.
such as terrorists in Yemen? We have, a problem in Syria. A lot of different things around.
We have problems on our own soil,
yes.
and I'm going to tell you guys this, and I believe this: if we have another attack, it's coming from our own ground. Everybody's worried about foreign policies, which we should worry about, because people hate America. Mm-hmm. But we have a whole battle that we need to fight here first, that we need to fix here first. Look at the Democrats and the Republicans, how they just attack each other.
Exactly.
We can't even unite here.
And that is another issue that which we're going to bring to you guys today, is that in the House right now we have the Republicans, who are the House Representatives
right.
majority, and we have Barack Obama, who's Democrat, and then we have the Senate, who are mostly Democrats, and that's something that he's going to try to fix this year, or something he's going to have to cope with if he's going to get along, for everyone to have a more common ground here in the United States, so we can all meet like a common goal that we so desperately need right now with the economy falling.
We just need UNITY. What's that spell?
Unity.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's what we need, and that's why we're doing this show, because we actually want our viewers to really know what our generation thinks and how we feel, because I really honestly believe that our generation, our youth, we are rebels with a cause. We are here to do something. We're breaking rules for a reason, because we all want to win at the end of the day, and we all need to unite to win. And that's what the hook is about: to inspire, to motivate, and somehow entertain. And with our two guests today, we're really, really, really excited to see what they have to say.
All right.
One.
And now we have Ellie Tremble and we have David Michaelson. Thank you guys for joining us. If you would like to tell Ellie who you are, where you're from, and where you stand in this political race.
Right.
And then David, you follow her.
Currently, I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm a student at Rutgers Camden. I'm getting my MSW. I voted Democratic, so.
Are you a Democrat?
I don't know if I consider myself a Democrat. I'm just, whoever's right
Okay.
in my head, so.
Well, David Michaelson. I'm Cherry Hill, born and raised, currently living in Camden and going to school at Rutgers School of Law. I voted for Mitt Romney in this election. Party-wise, I am a registered Republican. I usually identify much more strongly with the Libertarians, but two-party system being what it is, gotta go with whichever one you think more closely comports to your ideology, and for me, I think that's the Republicans right now.
Okay. Why do you think that the election went the way it did, this year, towards the end, from the beginning of the campaigning, from the nomination to all the way till now?
This election was first and foremost a referendum on Barack Obama and how people think he's been performing as president. So you look at the exit polls of why people voted the way they voted coming out on election day. 54% of people who showed up on election day approved of the job Obama was doing. So that's why Obama won, because the majority of the country thinks that he's making things better. Now,
Do you believe that?
I do not.
Okay.
Why?
Why? I think you just look at what's been going on in the country the past 4 years. You look at the unemployment levels, you look at the spending levels, you look at the falling wages and the rising cost of living, and I don't see how you can come to the conclusion that Obama's making things better, but the majority of people did. And because the majority of people did, he won.
Well, I guess maybe with my background of, going to school in Camden, knowing different groups of people. You know, I was born at, you know, I pretty much was raised in Cherry Hill as well. So I feel like I had, you know, an advantage with my education and all that. And then you leave Cherry Hill and you're like, holy shit, this is not what life is like.
Yes.
So you meet all these different kinds of people from different backgrounds, and you know, I am lucky enough to have a very diverse group of friends, and you learn that life isn't what Cherry Hill is like. And I feel like Mitt Romney is kind of like what, you know, it's like Cherry Hill and like, you know, on a pedestal. You know what I mean?
Do you think that maybe Mitt could do another job, or do you think like he's dealing with what he has to deal with because of what's going on?
You have to realize where people are coming from, and I think that when you see why we need to put money into social services and why we need to put money into general assistance and welfare and healthcare and all these things, because the people who need it are the people, you know, I myself, like, I'm one paycheck away from, like, you know, being on welfare.
Yes.
You know, you're one step away from being that. And people don't really typically see how important it is. Like, I need Planned Parenthood as soon as I turn 26 and I'm not on my mom's insurance. Like, I'm going to need that shit.
Right.
And if you just, like, take that away, you're giving people the opportunity to have so many more problems in their life. And, you know, if I'm 5 years old and my mom, you know, single mom, and I'm going hungry and I can barely, you know, have clothes and shoes to put on my feet, like, I'm going to be more, you know, susceptible to 1,000 other problems when I turn 18. And all of a sudden when I turn 18, the world says, well, you know what, I don't give a shit if you had a shitty life. Like, you're going to have to pick up by your own boots and figure it out. Like, no, that's not how it works. And I feel like Mitt Romney, it was like, you know, totally like, you know, well, everybody, you know, and my own guy, and I believe in America, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And, like, you know, Obama sees that where people are coming from and the needs that, you know, people need support. And, you know, as a, you know, American citizen, you have the responsibility to help your neighbor. You have, you know, it takes a neighborhood to raise a child, pretty much. You know what I mean? And if you all work together, like, I don't, you know, if you're a billionaire, like, who gives a shit if you have to pay $1 million in taxes?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, if that's going to help in the long run to help society work together and get more employment, you know. And the other thing is, like, you know, you're saying that, you know, the high unemployment rate. Well, fuck. What did George Bush do his entire election, or his entire presidency? You know what I mean? Like, all he did was take away jobs and make it the way it is. You know, you can't fix 8 years of shit in 4 years.
So what's going on currently with the Republican Party is they said that the GOP in general are not reaching out to enough people to gain, you know, more, you know, I guess, respect in the country. You know, they're more go towards, I guess, you know, upper class and male, and, you know, obviously Caucasian males, and they don't reach out to the Latino vote. They're not reaching out to, you know, women votes, and those are the people that all the Democrats are getting. How do you feel about that?
I don't know if it's so much a matter as reaching out as the Republicans got out-campaigned this election. I mean, we heard what Ms. Tremble just said. That was the narrative that carried Obama to victory. Yeah, things are bad, but Bush made them bad. I'm trying to make things better. I'm trying to make things better for everyone. And Romney, he only cares about rich people. If you're not rich, I'm going to make your life better, and Romney isn't. Obama hammered that narrative the entire time. He sold the narrative. He got people to turn up and support him because they felt passionately that if he was elected, he would make their lives better, and if Romney was elected, he'd only help the rich. Now, if you actually look at Romney's policy and what he was calling for...
Now, Obama's policies was to it's coming up, is reduce deficit, overhaul tax code, revise immigration laws, and reduce the nation's spending on foreign oil. And also, he's going to deal with some also foreign policies. Do you think that is, or continue what you're going to say Mitt Romney's policies were?
Well, I mean, Obama says his policy is deficit reduction. He has increased it by $6 trillion, which is 50% in excess of what Bush did. And when Bush was doing it, Obama was saying, this is recklessly irresponsible, this is unpatriotic, we're hurting the country by spending this much money that we don't have. Romney's policy was to help everyone by pursuing a pro-growth agenda, by lowering the burden on the private sector, by not following the Obama model where you make government bigger, and to make government bigger, you take more and more and more away from every other part of the economy. Romney could have framed issues in a way, and he didn't do this, and this is why he lost, that made the argument for fiscally conservative government and made it in a way where it's apparent this helps everyone. This helps poor people too. Here's an example of a way Romney could have pitched the argument. These entitlement programs, the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all these things that help poor people. And Romney could have said that all these programs that help people, the structural way that they're set up today is that there isn't enough revenue to be had from the American tax base to keep them going. The only way we keep them going is by going further and further and further into the red. That's why we constantly have these debt ceiling debates, and Obama can stand here and say, oh, we just need the rich to pay more. If the rich pay more, then the problem goes away. It's nice to think that the problem is that simple. It's nice to think that if you tax the rich, then you can have the social safety net that we have right now in perpetuity. You can't. The way it's set up right now is that you have it, you can't pay for it, so you borrow $1 trillion this year to keep it going. Next year you borrow another $1 trillion. Next year you borrow another $1 trillion. You raise the debt ceiling, and every time you raise the debt ceiling, you demagogue the issue and say, the people who don't want to raise the debt ceiling just want to take away programs from poor people and don't want the rich to pay their fair share to keep it going.
So do you think, Ellie, that, what he said, I did believe in some of Romney's policies. I felt that Obama is helping people, but at the same time, I think a lot of people are relaxing because of these certain, government assistance programs. Do you think that most people, because they know that they can get welfare, they can get that they're just kind of leaning back and they're not trying to make the country better?
There's a lot of stigma on people who are on welfare. You're lazy. You can't, you just don't want to go get a job or whatever, but that's total bullshit. Like, if, a lot of people who are on welfare have serious disabilities,
right,
and people tend to not take mental disabilities or mental health, illnesses seriously. And, depression's a real thing,
right,
bipolar is a real thing, schizophrenia is a real thing.
Talk about it.
You know what I mean? And if people don't talk about it, you're just going to have that continued stigma of, you're just lazy, you don't want to go get a job. But in a combination of having, that barrier plus, I have knee problems, or I have, back problems or whatever, and I'm, an electrician, or I'm a plumber, or something that, like, you're going to need to be physically active with, or any other kind of office job where you're sitting all day, all those barriers combined together, is going to prevent you from being able to get a job, not to mention when there's, unemployment rates and all that kind of stuff just pulls in together. So if you're on welfare, no, it's not about like, oh, I'm lazy and I just don't want to get a job. It's, you can't get a job.
Right.
The job's not there, and B, I have so many barriers to overcome that, it's going to be months or years until I can figure out, like, how can I get a job if I only have a GED? How can I get a job if I can't even afford to go to college? And how can I get a job if I've got 5 kids already and I'm 25? You know what I mean? So all those things together, when I don't have the support that I need, it's not as simple as I'm just lazy and I don't want to get a job.
Those are realistic problems, actually, in our society today. I mean, like, for people that have unfortunate situations where they have a child at 18, that doesn't make them a bad person.
No,
I mean,
not at
things
all.
happen. If it wasn't for us being careful, or by the grace of whatever, it could have been us. And I come from a 2-parent home, a good home, and I could have easily been on food stamps. I could have easily needed government assistance for a whole lot of things. So I think that America, as we call ourselves America, and we want to help people, I don't think that cutting back, helping people by taking away food stamps, by taking away Medicare, whatever, I don't think that's the right thing to do. I didn't think that was the right thing to do, and I think that's what kind of just put a bad taste in my mouth about Mitt Romney. And another thing that put a bad taste in my mouth that I want to let you guys touch upon is, like, women's rights and being able to make decisions on your own.
A lot of people think that women shouldn't have the choice, or don't support things like Planned Parenthood, because the stigma of Planned Parenthood just supports abortions and all this. And Planned Parenthood isn't just about abortions. It's about getting, your monthly checkup or yearly checkup, being able to get a free mammogram, get a free pap smear, whatever it's going to be. Go get tested for STDs. And, if you don't have these services in place, or, it's not available, people, shit's gonna hit the fan, and a lot of people are gonna be covered in poo. So, you need services like that, and I know I'm gonna need it because I'm gonna be in the field of social work, and let's be honest, I'm not gonna be making a lot of money. Right. So, I need services in place for myself because I know I'll need it. And, they also, so you're saying like, oh, I don't support abortion and all that, but it's like, okay, so you don't support abortion, so you're gonna make whatever woman that's pregnant have the baby, but then once she has that baby, you're not willing to support her when she has that baby.
Right.
So you're gonna say, let's take away abortion, but we're also gonna take away welfare, WIC, all food stamps, all that shit, and it's just like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who's gonna help me?
Right.
So, and then you got people, living on the streets with their kids, living in shelters, going from shelter to shelter.
Home to home.
So it's just like, something has to, there has to be a change, and I think we're going in the, in the right direction of change, but it's not perfect. And I'm not saying that it's perfect. I don't say that Obama's perfect, but, I think that he has more hope, and he has a better vision than what Mitt Romney has. And I think that's why, he won the election, because, again, you can't do everything in 4 years, but maybe in 8 years, you're going to be able to make, a milestone.
I think the Republican Party platform is definitely out of the mainstream on those issues, and having to work around that platform hurt Romney in this election. Romney himself, as a candidate, is a centrist from Massachusetts. He's not one of these Republicans who's Bible thumping and waving around holy books, yelling, we have to outlaw abortion and not let gay people get married because this book is the core of American values and this book says it's evil. Romney is a fiscal conservative who is completely unaffiliated with that part of the party. Now the problem is that when he was running in the Republican primary, he was up against Rick Perry, Michelle Bachmann, Rick Santorum. He was getting flanked by the right every other week. There was a new challenger rising saying, why is Romney the front runner? I'm more conservative than Mitt Romney. I should be the party nominee. Every week he had to fend off the new challenger, and to do that, he had to go through this awkward, vote for me, I'm the Republican champion, I'm more conservative than Rick Santorum phase, where he was saying things like, I'm in favor of self-deportation, and really, really, really pandering to the far-right God and Country coalition. And then once he got to the general election and he went back to being the moderate from Massachusetts, he looked like a flip-flopper, and that hurt him. The Republican Party needs to get to a point where it can get candidates through the primary without doing that. I don't know if it's the Republican base that has to change. I don't know if we just need the right candidate who can explain what he stands for in such a way that he convinces the party base he's going to be a good Republican candidate without towing the line on these issues, but that has to change. Because you can't keep having these scenarios where you either get a hardline social right-winger who's unacceptable to the general electorate, or a moderate who has to pretend to be that and then looks like a flip-flopper in the general election. John McCain had that problem also. Now, John McCain all around was a weaker candidate than Mitt Romney, but John McCain had the same problem and suffered the same way, where at heart he's a moderate, he has to pretend to be a hard right-winger in the primary, and then when he gets to the general election, he looks like he's all over the place.
Shortly after Romney had lost the election and he conceded to defeat, there was a statement that was released in the U.S. News and World Report, and it said simply, we wanted a fighter like Ronald Reagan who boldly championed Americans' founding principles. What we got was a weak, moderate candidate handpicked by the Beltway elites of the country clubs. Now, you mentioned something that Romney is kind of a person that's like, he is that kind of Cherry Hill type of guy. How do you feel about this quote? And they're kind of, disregarding him now after the election.
Since Mitt Romney did lose, and now the Republican Party is just almost like this. It's like, did they even believe in him anyway? like America, I believe in my heart that America made the right choice, because the way that his party's even treating him, it's Mitt Romney who, and that scares me, because it was a close race and he almost had a chance to get into the White House and people didn't even believe in him. His own party didn't even believe in him. Am I wrong?
Well, no one likes a loser, and your standing takes a hit after you lost. You don't see John Kerry as a champion for Democratic causes anymore, so, I mean, I don't think it says anything particularly shocking or out of the ordinary that Romney is getting tossed aside after losing the presidential election. This was an election about the direction that the country needs to go in what is the role of government, how much does it do, how big can it be, and how do we address the fundamental problem that the government we have right now cannot be supported by the economy we have right now, and the only way we keep it going is by going deeper and deeper into debt and becoming Greece and accelerating towards a point where we're so deep in debt and our economy is so broken that we just need to go into austerity measures. We can't even worry about what people need. We just have to make painful cuts across the board. That's what we're seeing in Greece right now. And if we don't address the problem of having a entitlement system that is not just good for the people who need it, but also sustainable and around for people who need it in future generations, 10, 20 years down the line, we're going to be in a heap of shit.
I pretty much focus on what's affecting the people that I work with right now, and it's more of just like, you know, a crisis response is like pretty much how I work in. And because it's so day to day with me that I can't look 20 years down the future. I think, you know, you got to remind yourself it's darkest right
before the dawn. Yeah.
And you know, I think we're in that time right now, and it's going to be like that for another 20 years. And I don't think our economy is going to get much better in a year, 4 years, 10 years from now. I think, you know, it's going to be a slow process to get back. But I don't think it's something that you need to just give up and, you know, just cut things and cut programs. You know, you still have to have some kind of support system in place, and government still has to be one of those partners to support different programs.
To wrap it up real quick,
Yeah.
what we're going to do is, and we thank you guys for coming out today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just real quick, a quick tidbit. 2016, they had a couple projections of who they think is going to run. I know we were talking about it earlier. A couple names going to throw out there is, you know, Hillary Clinton, Rick Santorum, Jeb Bush, Joe Biden, Martin O'Malley, Chris Christie, Cuomo from New York, Huckabee, and Schweitzer from Montana governor.
And Jaida Hall and Chris Williams.
Yeah. Who do you? Real quick, guys, give us a quick, you know, a quick 10-second thing of who do you think, like, you know, for a prediction, who do you think is going to be running against
I would love to see Chris Christie run for president. We will see great things if he runs.
Ellie?
Well, it's a scary thought if Chris Christie runs, but yeah. I think Hillary Clinton would make a great candidate. Joe Biden would be great. You know, either one of them. I think both of them have the background where they can support different frames of thought, I guess, for, you know, the population, and they both have great values and morals, and you know, they have the right vision that's along the same line of Obama. So I think, you know, I'd support either one of them.
We thank you, Ellie, and we thank David so much for coming on our show today. And this just goes to show you guys and our viewers and the people out there that our generation, we have a mind, and we really could run for it if we wanted to, but we're gonna sit and wait our turn. As I said before, we're all rebels with causes, and we're out here to win. Absolutely. And we're out here to help people. So that's what this election was about. This is what this topic was about. And next month we have something amazing planned, because it's the holiday times, and we're looking to give back, right?
Absolutely.
And we're looking to make people happy, and that's what the hook is about.
So make sure you guys stay tuned for our next month episode. My name is Chris.
And I'm Jaida Hall. You can follow us on Twitter at
CWILL1213.
He doesn't know his Twitter name.
I almost forgot.
And you can follow me at _JadaKiss_. And you can also like us on Facebook with Jada and Chris the Hook.
I've been